A persistent middle-aged gentleman sold me this tiny pendant. His overstuffed storefront was located at the base of my hotel in Jerusalem. While everyone else on my tour group was visiting significant historical locations around the city, I paced, walking back and forth around the store, looking for the perfect keepsake. I was determined to find a wearable reminder of the life I would be leaving behind in this ancient city. I booked this trip while trying to get pregnant. I wanted one big adventure before focusing my attention on motherhood. The trip was booked, and then after 11 months of trying, I became pregnant. Concerned but not wanting to cancel this once-in-a-lifetime experience, I visited the doctor. Subsequently, I had several doctor's appointments, tests, and confirmed it was safe to travel, even to such an exotic location. We arrived in Tel Aviv on a warm day at the end of May. The sights, smells, and peculiarity of a new land was overwhelming. I felt good as you can at just over 12 weeks pregnant. I was excited for this journey. The tour spent days traveling up and down the small country before arriving at the Dead Sea. Exhausted from the day's excursion, I watched the sunset from our balcony rather than trekking down to wade in the sea. In the morning, I woke with reassurance, remembering that today I had reached the safety of 13 weeks. I headed to the restroom. I noticed blood. Not a lot, but I was clearly spotting. I assured myself that it would be okay. My sister had spotted throughout her pregnancy, and my nephew was perfect. The day wore on, and I was consumed with worry. At lunch, I used the restroom again and found I was in need of a doctor. Our tour director called an ambulance, and I was rushed to a giant hospital in Jerusalem. I remember an IV and later an ultrasound. Looking at the tiny grayscale screen, I knew immediately that my baby was gone. He would have been more developed. I saw what looked like a little cashew and no heartbeat. I didn't need the doctor's confirmation. I knew full well, and even if I had questioned, the faces of the medical staff spoke volumes. The next couple days are a blur with moments of vivid tragedy. I was sent back to the hotel, and later I was rushed back to the hospital, hemorrhaging. I was in and out of consciousness and struggling with tachycardia. The end result was an emergency D&C in a giant hospital in a tiny country on the other side of the world. I chose the Jerusalem cross as a reminder of the city I left my baby. I wrote this a few years ago, not because I wanted anyone to read it, but because I needed somewhere to put my grief. And writing, the act of putting words on a page, became the thing that helped me survive. Today, I want to talk to you about something I call paint your pain. And before you tune out, I promise you don't need a canvas or paint or any creative or artistic ability at all. Welcome to The Gracious Way. I'm Bobby, and this channel is for women who are rebuilding after divorce, after loss, and after life didn't turn out the way you planned. If you're new here, I'm glad you found this place. And if you've been here before, welcome back. It's great to have you, friend. If this kind of content speaks to you, hit subscribe. We're building something here, and I'd love for you to be a part of it. Here's what I know about pain. It doesn't just live in your heart. It lives in your jaw at 2 a.m. or in your chest when a song comes on, in the way you can't quite finish a thought some days. And for a lot of us, especially us thoughtful, responsible, faith-filled women, we've been told in 100 subtle ways to hold it together, to be gracious about the hard things, to move forward, to trust the process. And those things are true, but they don't tell us what to do with the feelings that won't go away. That's where creativity comes in. Because here's what I've discovered, and researchers are starting to back up. Pain that has no outlet gets stuck. But pain that gets expressed, it begins to move. Now, what does paint your pain mean? It's the practice of using a creative outlet to express what you can't say out loud, to give your grief a form, to let your hands or your voice or your pen do something that your mouth just can't. I call it paint because I love the image of it. Taking something dark and heavy and spreading it out so it's something that you can see, you can touch, it's tangible, something outside of you. But you don't have to paint with paint. You can paint with whatever you got. Here's a few ways to do it. Writing and journaling. This is my personal anchor. There's something about putting words to pain that externalizes it. It takes it from inside you and puts it outside. You don't have to be a writer. You don't have to spell anything correctly. Trust me. You just have to be honest. knitting, crocheting, or any fiber art. There's something deeply grounding about working with your hands. The repetition of a stitch, the rhythm of it, can quiet a nervous system that's been on high alert. Women have been using fiber arts for centuries to process pain, to pray, to hold community. Don't underestimate it. Painting and drawing. You don't have to be talented. The point is not the product, it's the process. A $5 watercolor set and some printer paper is all you need. Let the colors carry what words can't. Music, playing or singing. Even if it's just humming a song in your car with tears streaming down your face, music reaches a part of us that we just can't with other means. Gardening, cooking, movement. Anything that asks your body to participate in the healing. Creativity doesn't have to be art in the traditional sense. It just has to give pain somewhere to go. The point isn't the medium, the point is the movement. I want to come back to the piece I read at the beginning. I didn't write the Jerusalem cross with a beautiful journal and a cup of tea. I wrote it in fragments over time. Some of it was written in anger, some in grief, and some in an exhausted form of surrender. I'd had a miscarriage in Jerusalem, alone or as alone as you can be with people around. My body hemorrhaged. I had an emergency surgery in a country on the other side of the world where I didn't speak the language. And when I got home, I didn't know how to talk about it. There were no words that felt right. Sympathy felt hollow. The silence felt worse. So I wrote. Not to be read, not to be published, just to give the pain somewhere to live outside of my chest. And over time, slowly and imperfectly, writing became a way that I processed that loss. And honestly, the way I processed my divorce and the years of waiting before that and 100 other griefs in between. I'm not healed because I wrote about it, but I am free because of it. There's a difference. And I want that kind of freedom for you. So here's what I want to invite you to do this week. Step 1, choose your canvas. What creative outlet feels even slightly available to you right now? Don't choose the one you think you should do. Choose the one that makes you feel the least resistant. Step 2, give it 15 minutes. That's it. Set a timer. Write without stopping. Pick up the yarn. Open the sketchbook. Don't judge the output. Don't edit. Just let it out. Step 3, don't perform it. This is for you, not for Instagram, not for your small group, not even for your journal if you're afraid somebody will read it. This is just between you and God and the pain that deserves somewhere to go. Step 4, notice what surfaces. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to come to a conclusion. Just pay attention. The creative process has a way of surfacing what your conscious mind has been working really hard to protect you from. And there you have it. You don't have to be healed to start. You just need to be willing to let something out. I want to close with something I genuinely believe. Healing is possible for you. Not the kind of healing where you forget what happened, not the kind where the scar disappears, but the kind where you can hold hard things and still live a full life, where grief doesn't have the last word. I believe creativity is one of the ways God made us to process what we can't simply think or pray our way out of. He made us with hands and voices and imagination. And sometimes the healing lives in the using of them. So go paint your pain, friend. With words, with yarn, with color, with movement, with whatever you have. And if you want to share what you've created, drop it in the comments. I would love to see it. Before you go, if this episode spoke to you, one of the most meaningful things you can do is subscribe. Not for the algorithm, but because I'm going to keep showing up here with honest, practical content for women who are rebuilding. And I want you to be a part of that. If you know a woman who's carrying something heavy right now, share this video with her. Sometimes the most gracious thing you can do is say, "Here, I found something that helped." I'll see you in the next one.